Hi, everyone. This is Norman Kochnak. I hope I'm not echoing this time because I'm going through my iPhone as opposed to iPad. Does that sound better?
Sounds good.
That's good. How are you, Mosen?
I'm good, mate. Thank you very much for having me on your show again.
And as we said before we started, this is actually day 5 of this match, although it may not go that long.
No.
Although, again, frustratingly, New Zealand just, I don't know. I can't work it out. It's just something's not right there.
No, I think there are a couple of things that points out that's probably a standout. One is they've gone in with batting heavy and left a bowler out. I think they were weak in their bowling attack, especially when they had England on toast with 56 and 5 down. They should have cleaned up. So the opportunity was missed there with lack of attack, and then their top order, the whole series has not clicked. Only the middle order have scored some runs. Top order all through the series, including Kane Williamson, not successful. Opening partnerships been not successful. The two top batters that they have got in the opening slot, they're trying to make shift an opener into number 4 batters in spot of Ross Taylor. It didn't work. Kane Williamson form was not up to the mark, and that's cost them. They haven't put enough runs on board, and with the selection, it's funny that the first Test match with seaming conditions they pick a spinner. Second Test match they pick a decent attack, but then Jamieson got injured. And then Wagner, we've been talking about Wagner getting a chance all through the series. In last Test match, they pick him, and then they pick a 1 bowler short. They've got. It's doing my head in that how you can continuously make silly mistakes, and someone's not actually highlighting them.
Absolutely true. I've got the echo back. So it can't be. I don't know what it is. Now, let me just. Oh, it's come back, and that's bizarre because I have. The only thing that I can say, Ollie Pope, 26 matches. I didn't realise he played that many. And he's got 1,298 runs. But Joe Root's the one that really, he's just at the moment at 55 not out. His batting average is ticked over 50.
That's right. And
so having scored 10
while we're talking New Zealand's worry, I think there's some that England have got some worries on their hand as well. Not to mention their opening again, they're struggling. In 3 Test matches, none of the openers have scored 100. And then Ollie Pope successfully scored 100. Root, Bairstow scored 100. So middle order is not as much concern, but their top order is a bit of a concern. So both openers, to me, might get another Test match. But then whether Zach Crawley gets another Test or not, I would be surprised if post-India he gets another Test match against South Africa. Because if he doesn't come good, I'm afraid that he's going to get dropped.
Well, I think Lees has played sufficiently well, and his positivity. I think he's kept his now. But in terms of Crawley, you're probably right. Ollie Pope is interesting to me. He's 81 not out. He's likely to go on and get a step.
Hope so.
So that'll be great. Joe, fine guy.
He's phenomenal. Last 2 years for Joe Root has been phenomenal. Even 3 years. Even if you go back 3 years, when they were all sitting on, Joe Root was sitting on 15 or 15 or hundreds or 1200s, and he just could not convert his 50s into hundreds. And look at him now. Every time he goes past 50, he's knocking on the door of 100. He's just something has clicked for him. His mindset is right. Now that he's relieved from captaincy, it didn't affect his batting. and he's just phenomenal. I think he's no doubt the number one bat at the moment.
No, I agree with that. I uploaded a video from there's some quads there from Gaul. It was very matter of fact. He's quite cheeky, actually, saying, pitcher, who knows what's going on. He's probably right.
Yeah, he's exactly right.
There's some training. Gaul. I love Gaul. I'm unless something dramatic happens. This weekend I've got my mother's service. I will probably go to Sri Lanka to play.
The second test or
the second test?
Yeah, I think it'd be good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I mean, I was there last time in 2016 when they played, and Cosel Mendes got a big score at Palakala, and actually they beat. Lanka won that match, and Lankan and Herat played really well.
So it'd be good if you're there and we do a program from ground. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, look, I'm getting this echo still. What is it? I've changed my phone to iPad. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
We didn't have it earlier on. Did we? I don't know what it is. Anyway. All the lookers ask, where is New Zealand next? I don't know whether they'll play the test matches. I think they're preparing for the World Cup.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're enjoying a little bit of. Is it my?
Well, it could be. Just when I'm talking, just put your on mute. Does that make a difference? Is that making any difference?
I don't hear any echo.
At all?
No.
Okay, just turn off again. Turn off one more time. Now I'm talking. I'm not hearing any echo at all, by the way. So there's no echo's actually gone. That's interesting. If I can hear, I'm not hearing any echo. You put yourself on mute, haven't you, Mosen? Obama Babu? Obama is the Obama Babu? Great name. Do you hear the echo when Mosen's on mute? Okay. So maybe there's something to do with it. Maybe. But you talk.
All right. So you want to put yourself on mute and see if you hear my echo? All right. So I'm talking now, and let's see if you can hear any echo. Any echo? All right, I'll keep talking about the game. So I think the day 5 is getting very interesting, especially when England is really in commanding position and they just need to bat it out. New Zealand have got to get wickets unless or until they do that. The result is inevitable. They'll lose this Test match. Okay.
Now the echo's back. They're both on non-mute. Could be. Have you got a headset?
Yeah, I can have a look at the headset. Yeah.
Yeah, just try. I mean, I'm not trying to focus blame on you, but it does appear to be a little bit of peculiarity. Anyway. So if I can get myself together, I'll do a live from Sri Lanka. That would be a lot of fun for the second Test match, not for the first. The first starts on Friday, the 1st of July. No. When does it start? Let me have a look. When does it start? Let's have a look.
Um, 29th of June, first test.
Okay, which is Wednesday.
Wednesday, the 29th of June, next Wednesday. Not in probably. Yeah, it's probably too tight for you to get there in time for the start of first.
Well, I've got second, 30th, first, second. I'll only be arriving there for the day. That's almost a waste of time.
Yeah, you might as well go for the second, which would be starting on the 8th of July.
Here's a question for you.
Youngsters, New Zealand youngsters. Look, I have no idea. I thought New Zealand have got their act sorted last year when they were really honing into Test match cricket, and everyone knew New Zealand's good with white ball cricket, but last year they really nailed their red ball cricket. But look, with the bowling, I'm comfortable, but in the batting department, they look like struggling because Ross Taylor's gone, and all of a sudden they couldn't find number 4 batter. And with Williamson not scoring their bulk of their runs, I think they're in a bit of a trouble. So unless they flood in a lot of the youngsters from their first class cricket, but no one's actually standing out from the news that I'm getting is actually putting their hand up and knocking the door down to be included. I don't know if Norman, you heard any new names or.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So just on the basis of this, New Zealand have got incredibly good junior competition. They play their New Zealand A side across the world. Australia A have woken up and doing the same thing. So it's more Australians behind New Zealand, if you really ask me. So I'm being really honest with you. The other, I just wanted to bring to our attention. They're 33 plus, but that's the same as Australia. The bowling line of England. You would argue South Africa probably isn't quite there yet, but England, New Zealand, and Australia have all got bowlers which are well into their 30s, haven't they, Mosen?
And that's the problem, the aging teams have not shifted well in recent times. As you can see, a lot of teams who have done well, and I'm worried about Australia. They're not shifting well in the youngsters group where they've got an aging team as well. So it's very interesting because you don't want to change your winning combination. You want to bring in your youngsters in there. Cameron Green is a good example, but New Zealand's aging team as well. They haven't slotted in any. They didn't look for Ross Taylor's replacement at number 4 or middle order for a long time, and all of a sudden they're makeshifting someone who's batting out of their position. So that's what my worry is. I trust New Zealand's competition is really good underneath, and their youth competition is really good. Same with Australia. First class competition is always good, but the thing is they're not transitioning in time to get the young blood in. I think Pakistan have done that really well. They transition it really quickly, and look at their batting and bowling attack. They're quite young. India have done it well. Sri Lanka have started to do it, and I hope they continue their strength in Test cricket, because that's to me that's the ultimate cricket. That's the pinnacle of cricket. And I like West Indies as well. They're sticking to their youngsters, and now like Myers and whatnot, they're scoring runs. So it's hard. It's tough question. It's really hard to answer. But I think once you've got an aging either batting group or a bowling group, you've got to continue to transition and bring in your young blood. England bowling attack now they're aging, but they're blooding in a lot of youngsters, and they've got lots to choose from. Potts is an example. He's come good this series, 3 Test matches, and now he's almost leading the attack. So it's a tough one.
All right, just go on mute. I was just going to talk about Indian women and Sri Lankan women. At the moment, Indian women are 3 for 62 in Dambulla, which is in central Sri Lanka. The real focus on Sri Lanka at the moment, and that's Sri Lanka are doing reasonably well. There's only 11 overs gone into the 12th over the 62, so Sri Lanka might have an outside chance. They're back well enough. All right, so I noticed a comment there from Subhash says New Zealand's only 35 out of 270 tests away from home. They have always been poor away from home. Well, they haven't given much of an opportunity to play away from home, so that's probably part of it.
Just to add to that comment, New Zealand only play when they go away. They play 2 test series, 3 test series. They don't get the full leg of test series either, and they're comfortable playing at home for test matches, and that's what last year they played a lot at home. So, it could be to do with their scheduling and ability to perform away.
Now, Obama Babu is starting to get very. Hello, we're going back to naked. I actually still, by the way, Himanshu Rahela is not blocked from the actual. His YouTube is not blocked from my YouTube, so I don't know what's happened. He seems to disappear. That's right. Rancorous England critics look rambunctious now. What do you think, guys? Can Stokes be the future white ball captain and is reduced to a red ball player? I think I don't think Brent Stokes will stay with white ball. He'll stay with Test cricket. And I think in the case of Joe Root, may well end up being a red ball specialist.
You won't be surprised that a lot of these guys in Warner, Smith, Root, Williamson, they'll give up their white ball cricket and be more test team players and play some franchise cricket and whatnot, because I think that's reasonable transition.
Okay. Sebastian's asking Dale Stein's birthday today. Is he the greatest fast bowler ever with a strike rate of 42? Well, he's certainly up there. I mean, you can't deny that he was a great bowler. There's no doubt. But I just can't help but think of a Lilly, even Rashid Hadley, even currently, you'd have to think of the likes of Anderson as well. But Dale Steyn was certainly right up there, as was Alan Donald from his own country.
Yeah, West Indian fast bowling factory, you call it. Holding, Garner, Marshall. There's so many names, but Dale Steyn's. I still like Alan Donald as well. He was up there as well, but you definitely would rank him amongst the best, no doubt.
But as you said, when you think of, as you said, Roberts, Holding, Garner, Croft, that was just an amazing quartet. Individually, Holding was probably the best. Roberts was certainly close. Then Lilly and Thompson together, Akram and Yunus, Yunus, so they have to be right there. It almost start to look at the 2 players rather than one. And that's probably where Dale Steyn lacked a support bowler. He had Vernon Philander there perhaps for a while. But I think maybe Dale Steyn did a bit of foil.
Mackay Nutini did a job for him, but he didn't. If Donald and Steyn would have played together, that would have been awesome. Like Broad and Anderson, it's like almost a pair that, they've done it. Broad Anderson, 2 Ws from Pakistan. That's what would have been lovely to see. Donald and Steyn from each end would be awesome.
Oh, well, just to explain, Himanshu Rahela was on last night, and there was this sex commenting going on, not by Himanshu. And I've clicked thinking I'm getting rid of Himanshu, but what I did was actually got rid of Himanshu. But I think that was only from that broadcast.
I think you didn't like Himanshu's comments, so you blocked him. Just say the truth.
No, I didn't block him. I mean, he has another Rahela. I think he's on. Anyway, I'm not worried. He knows I haven't blocked him. Owen Morgan retired from international cricket this weekend. Bizarre timing.
Yes, really silly timing. World Cup is around the corner. I think he still should play. He's got the team. I know his form is not there. He's still got the team going for the white ball. I think he still should play. Bad timing if that happens.
Is it bad timing, or is it somewhat of a good time to allow another captain to take the reins?
You can argue that, because obviously you got new coach in place. So whether this is the direction that England cricket wants to take, start with a clean slate, which they did with the Test. They gave captaincy to Ben Stokes with a fresh coach. So that could be an approach. But the timing in terms of Test cricket, you got time for Ashes, because that's the biggest target that English cricket normally targets. But with the white ball cricket, you always look at the ICC tournaments, which is your T20 World Cup, your One Day World Cup, and all those. So it'd be interesting if they're planning for the next year One Day World Cup and they want to bring in a clean slate. Yes, makes sense. But yeah, but again, yeah, I think it is poor timing. Well, poor timing in terms of that the leadership, who they're going to give it to. They go Butler.
Well, you would think Butler is the most logical person to take it on, I would argue, or potentially Stokes himself may give it, given the Guernsey. We don't know that at this point. But Brendan McCullum may have given Owen Morgan a little nudge, because don't forget, Owen Morgan and Brendan McCullum were actually pretty close, though, both of them with KKR. But I actually thought it was a bit of a discourse between them. I just wonder if that's what actually happened, whether there was a problem. Anyway, I think Owen Morgan has gracefully stepped down. I think he may have been given a little bit of a push.
Yeah, not wrong. But you remember that McCullum is not white ball cricket coach.
No, I agree with that.
But yeah, I think his form's been warranting him to step down and walk away, which I think is a bigger contributing factor. His form's been awful.
It's interesting because the time that Owen Morgan played, or not that long ago, with the IPL, and didn't go at his best, even though he's won a World Cup a few years ago. Nate, this person's back. I don't know what they are. I'm not going to block. I'm not going to try and block because I block someone else. Yeah. So Umran did play last night against Ireland, but Ireland were absolutely smashed by India, so it's not really relevant to take on his speed there. What do you think?
It's hard to judge someone on first game. I know he went for a bit of distance, different length bowling in English condition or Irish condition. It's different length. He bowled the wrong length. He bowled probably the more Indian length, but he'll learn. He's a quick bowler, and you don't get 150 plus bowler every day. So you gotta nourish him. You gotta just give him a bit of love, and I think he'll be fine. He'll learn his trade. He's never played in Ireland before, so he's got to understand the lengths that he wants to bowl and what pace works for him. So not all the time 150 or 145 plus is going to work for him, but he'll learn. I think you just got to back him.
I agree. I think that will happen. Okay, Kevin Peterson's birthday today too. My God, Sebastian, you're spending a lot of time on your birthday. No, Morgan to go back to the Netherlands and be a star there, getting shadowed by England white ball stars here. Owen Morgan is actually originally from Ireland, so he could. Well, I don't think he could drop back now to Ireland, but he actually did play for Ireland in something way back. There was some.
He played against England when he made debut. So then he shifted. So, but I think once he's done, he's done. I think he'll just play his trade in domestic or leagues. I think once he's done with the international, he'll be done.
I agree. Okay. Now, England women are playing South African women, both Dr. Mismo and I think Chloe Toron, no doubt. I noticed West Indies scored 408 against Bangladesh. Did you see that, Moses?
Yeah, I did. I know it's very impressive. As I said the other day, like to see West Indies coming back in that Test cricket form, because they've been white ball cricket labelled for a long time. So it's good that they're getting their head around settled team, good middle order, and Kimo Roach got his 250 Test wickets as well. He's actually a reborn quick, because he got discarded a couple of years ago. He got back fit, more focused, and now he's bowling quick again, and he's doing the role. So that's what my most pleasing thing for me is that West Indies started to do well in Test cricket. They did well against England at home, and they're doing well against Bangladesh at home. So hopefully they carry on from this in another year or two time. I think they've got to get their selections and domestic right, because that's where they're lacking. A lot of white ball players going away, playing white ball cricket, and you know that's where it's the red ball cricket is struggling.
The question here is, what makes them on white ball team special? Well, quite frankly, they are uniquely, they do have a lot of success, and they are a bit of a threat. I know Matthew Moss, the coach, and McCullum's the red ball coach, but quite frankly, I think McCullum will be across both. Don't worry, he'd be there, wouldn't he, Matt?
He'll be helping out, and you got to give credit to English 4 years ago when they were not winning the cups, and the brand of cricket they were playing was not really suited to modern day white ball cricket. They put a lot of effort in, and they've reformed a lot of white ball cricketers in David Milan, your Butlers, you know, your all the youngsters that they start in, Sam Billings and co. They have actually reformed their approach, their brand of cricket they play, and I think Modi will continue with that brand that they've established, which is attacking brand. They don't really worry about the opposition, and they go out and attack. And McCullum definitely will be around with Matthew Mott to continue that brand, and that's what it makes it special. A lot of their guys actually go out and play a lot of leagues as well, so they have gained a lot of experience from subcontinent. They play Pakistan League, they play India League, they go into West Indies as well. They come to Australia. Most of the English do come to Australia for Big Bash as well. So this is the special about these guys. They're used to the conditions around the world. They're not just one type player.
Okay. Vasanth Rangers wants to go back to India for a moment. They're about to play the Test match. Well, 1st of July, that's Friday, against England, which we'll be following. We'll be absolutely covering that. It'll be very interesting. We want to look at Mayank Agarwal coming back. No, when he's bringing Mayank, that makes no sense. Well, I don't know. He's quite a good player.
Mm-hmm. I think India still doing better than all the other teams overseas. Winning in Australia is big challenge. They've done it. Winning in England was a big challenge. They've done it. I think they're on a right track. And again, they will go through that transition as well. They've dropped to their middle-order starlets and got the youngsters in. So that's the transition. And I think those guys are capable of playing swing and seaming conditions. So I think in the next couple of years, you won't be surprised that India winning in New Zealand and in South Africa as well.
All right. Next question. Answer there.
Overall, you mean overall in all time? It's really hard because the different eras will have different type of bowlers, conditions, and whatnot. So current form, I would definitely go Joe Root number 1, Babar number 2, and then Marnus is there. For me, Marnus is number 3.
No, it wasn't Khawaja. What are you talking about?
Look, Uzi's getting up there. He's got to get this series. He scored runs in Pakistan. He scored runs in Aussie. I want him to score runs in here, and I think that he'll form the Fat Four definitely. I like Uzi because you remember last time Uzi struggled in Sri Lanka, and he is aware of that he struggled when the ball was turning sideways. He struggled in Sri Lanka, so I want him to put that monkey off his back, score runs in Sri Lanka. It won't be easy for Marnus and Smith either. But I want Uzi to score runs in Sri Lanka, and I think he will be on current form, definitely amongst the Fat Four.
But wait a minute, Pakistan was a turn wicket as well.
No, they were flat. Head scoring 100 in Pakistan. I don't think they were.
Philip Salt.
Yes.
English player.
Mm-hmm.
What do we want to talk about?
He's a good batter. He's a good batter, and he's in good form. He's amongst the the well-spoken circles of white ball cricket, and I like him. He's attacking cricketer, definitely in the frames of minds.
Okay. All right. So read that.
Tim David, again, we get Tim David questions every day. Look, my personal opinion, Tim David will play sooner rather than later. He's good enough. He's performed. One thing that he's done really well. He's gone on to all the other leagues, got the experience of different conditions, and has performed. So I think Tim David will be whether in the World Cup squad or not, but he will be in there. Cam Green's already doing it, and Aussies like him.
Okay. So while I'm talking, I'm going to hook you up. Okay, just on Tim David for a moment, let me tell you my thoughts. First and foremost, he's not in any squad, in any Australian squad whatsoever. He's not even the Australian A team, for that matter. Now, you're saying he's going to impress upon the selectors, but I really think there's a bugbear going on about whether or not he's credentialed to be Australian. Now, it might sound weird, but is he credentialed to be Australian or not is my question. And I think there's something doubtful because he hasn't performed domestically in Australia other than the BBL. I don't know whether Australia wants to necessarily look towards bringing someone in like that. I think there's a bit of interference going on there from that regard. Not so much that he's not playing well enough, but more the way he's gotten into that position over to others. I don't know whether there's a precedence being set that a man who's not played very much domestic cricket in Australia, plays BBL, plays all these international tournaments, does well, but doesn't really factor into. I think you might find, I mean, knowing Cricket New South Wales the way I do, and you do too, they tend not to like that. So maybe it's that rather than his form. What's your thoughts?
Look, I think there's some players who are exceptions rather than the rule. David Warner is a prime example. He played 2020. He went to India, IPL, performed exceptionally well in New South Wales cricket. He was playing second 11 cricket. He was not even playing Shield cricket. So all of a sudden there was a buzz created about David Warner, the guy who can play, he can attack. He was stacking shelves in Woolworths at that time. He had a massive contract in India. He came back. He was still playing second 11 cricket, and all of a sudden he was thinking of changing states. There was a buzz around him. Australia played him in 2020 cricket. They played him in one-day cricket before he actually stepped on to SCG for a first-class cricket game. So there's some exceptions, and I know Cricket Australia.
But hang on. Warner was not in Singapore or Hong Kong or something. He was Australian.
Yeah, but Tim David lives here. He actually lives here. I know he's Singapore from one of the parental side of things. He qualifies for Singapore, but he plays cricket here. He's in the train-on squads. I know he's not playing first class cricket, which we both like him to play to test him at the different level. But he plays one-day cricket. He plays 2020 cricket domestically, and I think that's where my liking for him is. His ability. He is a good fielder. He can field any position, and he can bat in any position. So, when he shifted from Perth, he was still considered as he was hitting big balls. And Lankan liked him at the time, but he left WA. He came to South Australia first, and then picked up by Tassie. So I think his value in 2020 cricket, I can understand, but then going on playing other cricket, I think it'll be still to be tested.
Okay. I still don't know enough about Tim David's rise. He hasn't played state cricket. Okay. Justin Langer, he also picked up Usman Qadir.
But there's different factors in Uzi's selection and then performance. You and I both know, but that's beside.
No, okay. But I don't know whether Tim Davis, he's going to play another domestic starting to perform well there against his counterparts, then they'll consider it. I believe that's what it's going to say. There's somebody he'll have to play well before, and he may be considered for next year. But this year, I don't think so.
No.
And that's not saying he's not good enough.
No, definitely.
Okay. Most, there you go. He's talking to you.
You're not wrong. Look, Pakistan have not played well in Australia in a long time. Last time they won a test in SCG when Mushi got 5 for and Shane Warne got 5 for. They have not done well. They were on a verge of winning a test match in SCG when, we all know Cameron Akmal stuffed up a run out and stumping and all these shenanigans were happening. Pakistan have not done well in Australia, and they have to. Any team who wants to be the top contender in world cricket, they have to perform well in Australia. There's no doubt about it. And India, if you look at from last 2 tours, they've done really well here, and hence they played the World Cup. The Test final as well. So there's no doubt. There's no doubt Australia will thrash Pakistan if they currently play in Pakistan. But they're on a right track at the moment. They've got to stick with those youngsters. They've got to keep that core group together. They've got a senior head in the team as well, so I think in a couple of years' time they'll be all right.
Okay. Currently covers on the lake. I heard that from Richard Vernon. He told me as well. Forecast better in the afternoon. Well, that's going to make it. They bring it down to a last session.
I reckon even they just need 1 hour. The way they're batting, you saw some negative bowling towards the end when they were bowling wide. Outside off stump line, and Root had enough, and then he switch hit a 6 over third man. He had enough of Wagner going wide line. All of a sudden, he just decided that that's enough of negative bowling. He just switched hit him over third man for a 6. So I don't believe that they need a lot of time. They just need probably hour and a half. And the forecast, as you said, it's better for the afternoon anyway. So, I think that there's result on card unless the English batting collapse.
Okay. Oliver Lupkin says here, but if you do not pick Tim in the T20 World Cup squad, Australia lose big glory in T20 World Cup. Okay. They're not going to include him in this World Cup. Not because he's not good enough, just that he's not in their plans. Clearly, it's now late June. This is only a few months away. Unless there are more and more injuries, I'll say no.
Plus, they've got their settled batting up. In middle order, they've got big hitters in terms of you got Marsh, you got Stoinis, you got Maxwell, then you got Inglis, you got Smith still playing, Warner's still playing. It's very hard to slot him in at this point in time, but obviously these guys will move on from 2020 World Cup, especially Warner, Smith. These guys will move on, and that will give opportunity to the other guys, which is McDermott. McDermott's still not getting a game. Like in Sri Lanka, he didn't get a game. The guy scored runs. He scored 300s in last Big Bash. The guy's opening the batting, scoring runs, good fielder, can keep. He's still not getting a run. So I think there's a lot of good youngsters post the World Cup will come into contention.
And let's be honest. Tim Davis made a lot of money out of the IPL this season. I think he can sit there quite happily and not be overly worried because clearly the IPL love him, and PSL and God knows what other L. There's plenty of other leagues going on that he'll probably go to he'll probably be a part of the what they call it, the 100 up there in England. He'll get his goons. And Chris Lynn's still floating around too, having played for Australia only maybe once. Did he play for Australia in the short form? But that's it. He's never played Test cricket. It's sad because, especially with someone like Chris Lynn, who I know very well, could easily have been a sensation in Test cricket. He could have been a Brendan McCullum-like batter. For sure. He not only could score quickly, he could score big. He scored some massive scores. Did he score 200 or 300 in a domestic game not long ago, at least, and he's phenomenal.
Yeah, definitely. Chris Lynn is a prime example who can hit big ball. Injuries did affect his cricket, but then, he gave up first class cricket, red ball cricket. He didn't take the Queensland cricket contract, and then from there on, he just became a pro for leagues, and everywhere he's scored runs. But then, his handful games for Australia did not do what the selectors wanted him to do, and now he's out of contention. He's never going to play for Australia, unfortunately. But look, I love for him to continue his mark on the domestic circuits around the world. So yeah, I like Tim David. Don't get me wrong. I want him to taste the next level, but obviously he's making his mark around the leagues and whatnot. But let's just not get a step ahead. I still believe he'll get a taste of international cricket sooner rather than later, but probably after the Cup, not before that.
Exactly. Okay, so Oliver Lucas has been at least Tim David, Josh English, and Banner David in the T20 World Cup squad. Well, that's not. It's too early to say that. McDermott English probably will be. Tim David, he could be, but I'm not expecting him to be. And Rowan Collis has, what has he said? He's spoken about Moses. New Zealand is the biggest choker of world cricket. No, they're not. They won a World Test Championship against India. You can't say that. They were very unlucky against England to lose, but they keep making. Australia beat them in a World Cup final. They keep making finals. There's plenty of teams around the world that would be ecstatic to get into a semi, let alone into a final.
If you look at New Zealand's record in World Cup cricket, they are the most consistent in getting into semi-finals. They just sneak in. Before you know, they've just gone into semi-finals, every time. And I would doubt that they're chokers. They should have won that World Cup final, apart from that silly 5 runs from Stokes bat and whatnot that tie the game. And they're even against Australia here at the Australian Cup, Brendan McCullum not getting out on a first, they could have scored big and won. But look, they haven't won white ball cricket for a long time, but I would say South Africa, we all know, are the biggest chokers. But yeah, New Zealand have won Test Championship against India, which is against the odds, which is surprising.
Okay. Sebastian, Tim David's father is Australian born and went to Singapore to his job in 1990. Tim was born in Singapore in 1996. Family shifted to Australia again in 1998 when he was 2 years old. So is that the sum total of his Singaporean experience?
That qualifies him to play for Singapore. And that's why he played for Singapore in the ICC tournament.
Okay, all right. I'm marking a lot of people's words here. England will whitewash India at 3-0 in ODIs, and England will win 2-1 in the 20. Interesting. I don't know. I find that India are more of a team to worry in the shorter format, to be honest. Test cricket, they've only got the one test to play. We have no idea what. They've had a bit of a run into this, but you wouldn't think it was enough.
No,
to be honest.
Different, and it's different now with injuries and so much out of form players and whatnot. It's different look compared to last year when India was there in England. It'd be interesting. And it's normally one-off test matches. It's very tough to get yourself up for that one test match when you know that it's the series was last year. It's just a one-off test. You're just fulfilling ICC's commitment and that whatnot.
Fair point. That's for sure. New Zealand are struggling. They feel they have no young players in New Zealand missing structure. Young players are struggling. I would wait on that one. I'm not certain of that. I believe they've got a lot more strength than we make a downfall start.
They would have strength, but their transition is not happening. My point again before what I was saying, the new Ross Taylor was going. They didn't draft anyone youngster into that slot to bring up at number 4 spot. They're doing some makeshift batting orders and whatnot. It's not working for them. So they got to look at their top 4 makeup again. Blood in some youngsters because obviously they've got 5 and 6 spot really covered. But the top 4, I think, with Williamson out of form, it makes it a little bit thin.
Just an update on Indian women's team against Sri Lankan women. India are now 4 for 117 after into the 19th over. Harmanpreet Kaur still there on 30. Look, that's a current run rate of 6.32. It's proving to be too much for Sri Lanka in general. I spoke to Nilakshi Silva only yesterday. She's very frustrated with her own batting form, but there's a fundamental issue with that team about the balance around their captain. And their captain's a pretty good batter, a very good batter, but not a good captain. And I'm afraid until they work that out, until they make a strong decision to allow her to be a batsman and not a captain, I think that team will continue to do what they're doing, where they'll go close and have these issues. And I don't know, something just not right there. A bit of commentary on Rohit Sharma. Now, Rohit Sharma is injury prone of late. He's in and out like a yo-yo at the moment, and it's becoming a little bit frustrating. I just wonder whether I still maintain, even though India's not played a lot of cricket of late, they had such a big IPL season. They still are on a downer after that. They still struggle as a group. I mean, they smashed Ireland yesterday. That's neither here nor there. But they go ahead.
Which you expect? I mean, India smashing Ireland, you would expect that. But I hijacked your point, so keep going.
And that's all right. I was just going to say that this Test match against England is a stupid one. It should not be played. It should have been finished last year. They won the series. That was it. Okay. This match was held over 12 months now. It's basically all in England's favour because it's on England turf. One match, no prep, no build-up, except for one domestic game, which was pretty good to have a game. But it's just not fair on India. It really isn't. They haven't been able to get into this.
No, and that's what I said. They're just fulfilling ICC's commitment. It's media rights, all of that. It's just one-off Test match. It's not going to bring. Look, that's why injured players, bad forms. It's not really going to be, a hype. Even though this series, England, New Zealand, created such a hype. It was such a an eye catcher for people, even in Australia. A lot of guys are actually watching this Test match with interest because New Zealand have been number one Test team last year, and England on a change of regime, different form of different personnel in the change rooms and whatnot. So they're keen to watch how England will come out, and it created interest. I'm afraid that England one-off Test match, and even if Bumrah's captaining, it's probably not going to create that kind of hype, but they have to fulfill the commitment, and I think that's what it will be. Even if it's end up in a draw or something, who knows?
Tamaria as captain has put herself on for the last over against India, and she's just been smacked for 4 and of course she goes heaps. When are they going to? When is she going to learn? When is she going to learn that she's not the best bowler? And what the hell is she bowling the last over for?
Exactly.
It is disgraceful. She's got this. Oh, I'm captain. I'm the best bowler. I'm going to bowl. There's no logic to it. I would be pulling my hair out if I knew a girl who bowled crappy full tosses and occasionally gets wickets and claims it's her bowling. It's beyond me.
Going back to the Test match, England, there's a lot of grey clouds. The pictures that I've got, a couple of pictures, there's a lot of grey clouds. The comments on Cricket Info is there's steady rain around. So I don't know if they'll start before lunch, but as I said, England only need an hour or so. 113 runs. The way they've been going, scoring 6 and over, 5.5 and over, they'll need no time to chase this down. New Zealand bowlers are tired. You can tell from yesterday afternoon as well. They were tired. They're fatigued. The first inning they bowl over 20 overs. It's not easy for a fast bowler who's played 3 Test matches on first innings. They bowl 20 overs. And whatnot, it's not easy. So that's why they'll struggle. New Zealand bowlers struggle, and England only need probably an hour or so to polish these runs off.
Just to let you know, this 10 runs off who puts the bowler on? Sorry. Sebastian. Jai Richardson, bold, moving delivery, it's dangerous. Jason is learning really well. That Cummins, why you want to I want him to retire. Will Australia be able to beat Sri Lanka in the Test series? There's Geordie's question. What do you think?
I think it's a good test. I don't think that it's going to be a walkover. I said that the other day. I want Sri Lanka to be really competitive, stay with the game rather than just give up. A lot of last year or year before, we've seen Sri Lanka give up really early, but they've done well in South Africa in the toughest of conditions. So I want Sri Lanka to stay competitive, and I think it will be a really good series. I don't think it'll be easy for Australia to beat Sri Lanka.
By the way, Asparu has now got a ball to go in the last over. Great selection. Great selection. She's picking herself to bowl and getting 3 fours. I'm sorry. It infuriates me. And I don't know the last ball. Although Nalakshi looks not good. All right, so India is the one to score the 5th test last year, and why should you want to suffer for that? It wasn't Sri Lanka who fought for it? Sorry, in their fault? Was it?
No, it was a lot of pressure about protecting your players. World Cup T20 was coming up. Plus, there was Corona and everything, so obviously India had got a lot of pull in deciding. They didn't want to go ahead play the Test match when obviously the pandemic is amongst your camp. So it's fair call. I'd take that, but I would have agreed with Norman that if the Test match is not playable at the time, you just give up rather than rescheduling it just for the media and ICC and whatnot. To just go, okay, well, we played 4 Test matches. 5th Test match is, unfortunately gone to pandemic. Let's move on. Then this one-off Test match would not have happened. Players would have been given time to freshen up and whatnot for the next series.
Okay, keep blocking. These are my assistants. Pretty hard. Because of we can beat Sri Lanka. He certainly is.
He wants to prove a point, and if you heard on Norman's channel his interview as well, he's very confident, he's very relaxed, upbeat. His family's there with him, so he's enjoying his time at the moment, and he's got a point to prove in Sri Lanka. Last time around, when he was there, he didn't perform well, got dropped. So on current form, I want him to do well in Sri Lanka. He's done well in Pakistan. And that's going to dictate how Australian opening and then 3 and 4 bats.
I actually think that Clark's going to kill this series.
That'd be good. That'd be really good if he does, and that's what I think we all want. Whoever has been following Uzi for a long time, they want him to do well both here and in India.
So India finished on 5 for 138 in the 20 overs they played with a run rate of 6.9, which jumped quite considerably, seeing Artapatu went 2 overs for 21.
I think it's a bit too far for Sri Lanka to chase.
But she went for 16 off the last over. Because she wouldn't let a better bowler bowl that over. I'm sorry, I'm disgusted about that. It's just her bullying. I'm afraid I know it too well.
Not wrong.
Okay. All right, so let's just see what's going on in this match, shall we? Well, I'm going to pull up the visuals.
So, comment I'm reading is there's about 2 miles north of stadium, there's steady rain still happening, and the weather is coming from southwest. So it's some blue skies, but I think they'll probably first session might be a write-off. What's that? Nearly 11 o'clock in England.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's about right. So I think the probably first session might be they might take an early lunch and try and start a little bit early for the second session. But the pitcher
can they take an early lunch though?
It's up to the umpires. If they see an opportunity, they can take an early lunch, half an hour early. So they can probably go 11:30 to 12 as lunch, and then go second session 2.5 hours.
Okay, the covers are on. I'm saying that now.
Yeah,
the covers look a bit wet.
Yeah, they're big covers.
Raining.
Yeah,
they got a blotter. They're calling a super soft. They call it a blotter.
Yeah.
Tahiru, I'm a Brad Key living in Australia, but love the comment. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, we're all happy for him. He's a fantastic bloke, and I think he's very well loved amongst cricket community.
So, okay, we've got on Friday, the 1st of July, the test match between England and India. Even though it's a one-off, it'll be still amazingly interesting, especially the way England's been playing. Then there is the test match prior to that of Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And that will be on Wednesday. So we'll see that first, and we'll follow up with there's some great matches coming up. They're showing visuals of South Africa and England women's bowing down, doing the Black Power rules, whatever it's called. And I noticed that they're without Shabnam Misbah, which is a big loss.
Key players have not travelled, so they're missing. Walaikum salam.
Okay. Salam is
greetings.
Greetings to you.
Yes. He said hello to you as well.
Yeah, so look, Australia seem to be, in my opinion, in a pretty good position situation against Sri Lanka, albeit Sri Lanka's playing to a goal. Terence Aldrin, hello, how are you? It's been a while.
Well,
okay, they've got a bit flat. I mean, the way that England have batted in the last 3 tests towards the end of any test has been they've rampaged. The pitches have broken up.
No. The other thing is the drier the English summer is, the pitches play better, and there hasn't been much rainy days off and whatnot for cricket in domestic cricket as well. So a lot of runs being scored in their domestic competition. Maybe a reflection of how the Test cricketers played the first half of English summer. It'd be interesting in August when the South Africa tours England. If it's a rainy, wet season, how does the pitch play then?
I love this next comment. Read it out. Most.
I don't look. I think the Australian women team is really a stronger team at the moment. They're youngsters not only are pushing and knocking the door. Look, Elise Perry's not even scoring runs, and they're still winning well. They've got really good structure underneath. Their WBBL's going strong as well, and even they don't play much Test cricket. They play one-off here and there, but they're still well equipped for that part as well. Murray's done well with the team, but I think they want to continue that attacking form that Australians are known for. That's why they had an Aussie coach before, where his task was to win the World Cup, and look, he did. So it's just a mindset of continuing with that approach. And Matthew Mott did coach before joining with Aussie girls team. He was coaching one of the county teams as well. When he left New South Wales, he was a county coach for a few years. So he knows English condition well. He knows English system really well. He knows these players really well, coming through the academy when he was working with them. So it's no brainer that they've approached him to come and coach their white ball cricket. It's a good move. I like it.
Okay. Well, maybe. I don't call New Zealand show.
Yeah.
Australia's struggle will be good to watch. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Well, it is a bit of a shame. But Sri Lanka got up, didn't they?
They played well. You got to give the credit to Sri Lankans. They played well. They batted well in both games, whether they were chasing or setting up the target, and then their spinners really choked Australian run scoring streamline, and that's what the results reflecting. Even the last one there, they were 3 for not many, chasing a small target. So no, Sri Lankan done well. Credit to them, and I hope they stay competitive in tests.
Okay. Cam should play. What do you think, Mosen?
Cam Green batting at 4.
Too high.
Too high. Currently, you got well set top 4. I don't see him batting at 4 at this point in time now.
So they're currently not showing England versus New Zealand or Australia. But up another part in Taunton, which I think further south, England is playing South Africa. And the winners are showing that.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, Mosen. Have you got any other thoughts?
Sorry? Final thoughts, mate. Look, I think England will just need probably an hour to get on. And I think the weather, the cricket info and the weather is saying that later in the afternoon, weather is clearing. So hopefully the clouds break out, a bit of blue sky for an hour or so England can polish off a well-deserved 3-0 victory. And I'm looking forward to Australia-Sri Lanka test match. So it'll be very interesting. And obviously, even though one-off test match is of less interest, but it's still going to be good test cricket in England when England play India. So there's plenty of cricket to look forward to, and a lot of programs with Norman.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll see you on Wednesday. We've got and then more palatable time, I would argue. And also India versus England further on during the week.
Absolutely. Look forward to it.
Thanks, Mosen.
Thanks, Norman. Cheers, mate. Bye.
Ciao. All right, I'll answer this for Mosen. Rowan Coley wants to South Africa playing 3 test matches in England. What's your prediction? England, the form that they're in now, should give South Africa a nice old hiding, you would argue. I don't think New Zealand are any worse than what South Africa are, so you would argue that New Zealand did so well against England but didn't win. South Africa's got less of a hope. I think the momentum of England this season will grow more and more, especially now that we'll see them play against India, and then they'll play a further 3 tests. That's actually 7 tests in one season. That's pretty sizable amount of cricket, I must say. Roy, Butler, Milan, Bairstow. Okay, this is your T20 World Cup side. Roy, Butler, Milan, Bairstow, Livingston, Stokes, Moen, Archer, Wood, Rashid, Works. Pretty good. They're going to be pretty hard to beat. You're right. Definitely Sonalo Jafta. Who's that? This is a test match between England. Maras and caps there. What a pity that I think like somebody missed on play. Young girl called Lauren Bell, bowling fast medium from the Marcus Trescothic Pavilion end. Okay. All right. Okay. Oliver Lutkins. Butler is a good captain. Can he make England T20 World Cup champions in this year? Very good chance. I think England are certainly going to be there now. They've improved quite with McCullum, even though Matthew Mott's the coach. Then, of course, Australia, India, Pakistan, they're the 4 that I think with maybe New Zealand lurking. If Tim is in the T20 World Cup, it's not easy to beat Australia. So, all right, we'll see whether that happens as well. I'm not certain whether they're going to put him in. Not because he's not a good player. I'm not saying he's not a good player. It's more to do with just the timing of all this. It's just a bit of doubt about the whole process, to be honest with you. We'll just wait and see. Just trying to work out what's going on here. Getting there. All right. So Wimbledon has just started with young countryman Nick Kyrgios winning this. Well, he needs to check his attitude to the game more than his play. His attitude is one of his biggest downfalls. So Nick Kyrgios is capable of doing anything if he keeps his mind in check, so to speak. So yeah, that's probably the case there. We're watching a girl called Bell coming in the bowl for England, a very skinny girl, a bit tall, and certainly getting the ball to come in, hoop in quite a bit. What pace is she at? Quite impressive. All right. So we're not getting any play at this moment in time. The game is currently washed out, or not washed out, but under a storm cloud. And, it's going to be interesting to see whether there's any chance of any play in the near future. But we are watching women's playing here. And they've got the ball coming in quite a bit there. Cam Green versus Joe Root. That's interesting to see. It will be. Who was the favourite to win the T20 World Cup in Australia? Again, Rowan Collier, I was talking about Australia. It's certainly England's on the rise again. India and Pakistan will be both very good. They're the teams with New Zealand there as well. So they're the 4 or 5 teams I can see. West Indies, Sri Lanka, no. Probably not. Bangladesh or Afghanistan and the other teams involved. So that's my thought. Okay, well, let's put that there. Oliver, Cam Green versus, as I said, that will be interesting. There'll be a lot of interesting little matches there, I would say. Be a lot of interesting. Are you leaving now, Norman? Am I leaving now? No, not yet. Not yet. No, I'm still going for a while. I'm going to be fair to most, and he's only, he can't have him on all the time. South Africa is also a dark horse. Well, yes, I would say that, but I just don't know whether you're talking about the team that chokes the most in World Cups. It's South Africa by a country mile. Yeah, it's very interesting though. Okay. Very good ball. Okay. Michael Vaughan says that Jai Richardson is going to be dangerous bowler in England conditions. Even for next year's World Cup, yes. He should be there too. He should be there and he should figure. Yes, I would agree with that. I'd say it's a fairly good comment to make. South Africa done for 4. Is this a test match? I'm still not sure whether this is a test match or what it is. Let's have a look here. Let's just have a look what this is. Is it someone confirm if this is a test match or not? I'm assuming it is. Only test. In fact, it is a test match. And both Trisha Shetty and Shamini Mesbel both not playing. Chloe Toron is also not playing. Interesting. Australia versus India. I'm not far from that for being mine as well. Shaheen is waiting. Okay, we'll wait and see. Australia versus India could well be. Could well be. I'm certainly not going to discount them either. So that's a good delivery. There's certainly some movement here at Taunton. Okay, we're looking at the series here. Sri Lankan women already lost a wicket. Mishmi has caught a ball there for 5. Harsha's in there. It's the first drop. You got Tibet, Nilakshi and Kavisha. Whether Nilakshi goes in early or Kavisha, we'll wait and see. That's in the women's Sri Lankan game. Okay, I can't see Australia winning in Sri Lanka, hence out of condition World Test Championship final. Okay, India versus South Africa. That's interesting. Will be the final. Okay, All right, that's an interesting perspective. If that's going to happen, that will be very interesting. Very interesting indeed. I think South Africa floating around, yes, but wouldn't it be great to see India versus Pakistan? I would love that. Would certainly be what I would like to see, for sure. Well, let's have a look here, guys. Let's have a look at the situation here again. With the rain falling and no actual match happening, it's a bit hard to get excited, isn't it? I must be honest. Yeah, I'll give it a bit of time. It's every day is not a Sunday. Like Matthew Wade 3-6 is also waiting. Well, I don't know whether Matthew Wade will play another game with short format, to be honest. All right, guys, how are we going there with time? We've gone out in 10. I'm going to move probably to stop. We'll talk to each other again tomorrow. All the best. Thank you.